Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that really feels good because, after all, that's what we ultimately want. We want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Amy will be joining us after the commercial break. She's going to be answering a few questions that I have about the COVID variant, which is a hot topic in our world and, of course, right here in NCW. Like I said, I have questions and I know she'll have answers, so stick around because health is the first wealth. But before we go to any further, I want to remind you that if you have questions that you'd like us to answer on or off the air, you can email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. You don't need to suffer and try to figure it out all on your own. There are answers and solutions. There are ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. I want to remind you that you can also visit me at my website, www.fletcherellingson.com. I've got a number of free resources there to check out. You can get a free copy of my ebook, or you can take the happiness quiz and find out how your life is actually going. It's a pretty cool quiz. You get a kind of a bird's eye view of how things are happening in your life. And I'll personally send you feedback on the results. You can also go there and listen to my podcast. It's a great way to stay in this personal development conversation. Now, let's get to today's email. It says, Fletcher, I've been watching your show and have heard you talk about the importance of mindset and taking action. I've tried to be positive. I've tried to make my life better and make progress. The reality is that it's slow going, hard, and honestly at times a painful struggle. I just want to feel like everything is going to be okay. In my family, it seems like one challenge after another. Someone is sick, or there's an accident, or a big unexpected bill, or drama at work. I can barely catch our breath before something else happens that demands my attention. When do we get to the good life? Signed, RW. All right, first of all, RW, thanks for reaching out. People who reach out for advice, counsel, those people are strong, which means you're strong too. I know in our society we talk a lot about having to do everything on your own, figure it out on your own. Don't listen to it. It's always a sign of strength when you reach out and get advice. So, I hear that you're in a time in your life where there's a lot of things happening that are hard to navigate. And I hear at times things come with pain and results in struggle. Let's just be clear. I am not here to tell you that life is easy. But what I will tell you, and what I really want you to hear today, is that what you want for your life is possible. I really believe that. What you want for your life is possible. And I also want to remind you the very thing that I tell myself almost daily. I am resourceful, capable, and flexible. And you are W. You are resourceful, capable, and flexible. We need to remind ourselves of this. You see, personal growth never happens without some level of challenge, struggle, or adversity. In fact, and I know this sounds weird, but challenge and struggle are actually required for growth. Think about, let's look at an easy example, riding a bike. Remember way back when you got on your bicycle, you didn't just take off down the road. No, you were wobbly. You probably fell down multiple times. Maybe your mom or dad was there to catch you. But it took time after time after time. There was a challenge. There might have been a level of frustration along with the anticipation and excitement, but there was still challenge. Maybe you fell down and got hurt, scraped a knee. Right? There was physical pain. There was challenge, but out of that challenge came growth. Right? It's the same thing if you learn a sport or take up a new hobby. Maybe you're playing a sport or taking up painting or something. Right? There's challenge in how to how to catch that ball or throw that ball or learn all the different rules, or maybe how to mix colors right, or what brushes to use, or how to get just the right amount of paint on the canvas. There's always challenge, but out of that challenge comes growth, okay? It's the same thing, I mean, if we look back in the history of our country with civil rights and voting rights, oh my gosh, there was so much strife that came before the breakthrough, right? So there's always this struggle, adversity, and challenge. Now, when we see that happening, it's a unique opportunity, because then we can actually go to a place of gratitude, like, oh, there's challenge happening, that means I'm about ready to grow. In my coaching business, all of my clients go through a course I developed, which is called The Practice of Feeling Good. At the core of this course is a practice. What do I mean by that? Well, consider that we frequently are practicing. Health providers practice medicine. Attorneys practice law. Athletes practice their sport. Artists practice their art. The best marriages I know are the best ones because they practice listening, communicating, being present. They practice appreciating each other. The best parents I know also practice listening and engaging their kids. As I said, at the core of my course is a practice. And the practice is the practice of bringing an empowering story to whatever situation you're facing. You see, most people are practiced at bringing a disempowering story to their life. A story that says, I can't do this. This is too hard. Bad things always happen to me. I never catch a break. Making money is a struggle. Life is a struggle. You get the picture, right? So I'm not here to tell you that there is a way to live life without struggle, but I will tell you that most of the struggle is in the story that we tell ourselves, which is why I practice looking for the wins. I'm frequently looking to point out all the ways life is working out for me. I'm frequently counting my blessings, and when there is a challenge, the challenge now triggers me to be grateful, because I know I'm about to learn something. I'm about to grow. I'm about to become wiser, maybe stronger, maybe more compassionate, more capable because of the challenge at hand. Now, I'm not saying don't feel your emotions. On the contrary, I want you to pay attention to your emotions. Get the lesson from them. But bring an empowering, feel-good story to your situation, because it's going to allow you to navigate life with greater ease and joy. My personal favorite empowering story is this: life is working out for my greatest evolution. Life is working out for me. It always has, it is now, and it always will. Even when it doesn't look like it, even when it doesn't feel like it or sound like it, I am trusting that life is working out for me and that there's always something to learn and empower me. I encourage you to consider this story as well. And again, it sounds simple, and I recognize that it's not easy. It takes practice. It takes time, but I'll tell you this, RW, it's worth it. And finally, surround yourself with other people who are doing this, because it'll make it easier. I know you can do this, and I believe in you. Okay, you guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to visit with one of my favorite people in the world, the very intelligent, the very wise, the very patient, and my nemesis when it comes to playing cribbage, my wife, Amy Ellingson. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here. And to my right is Amy. Good morning.
Hi, I didn't know what you were going to say after Nemesis.
Oh yeah. Well, we should clue them in a little bit. So we are avid cribbage players. We play cribbage a lot, multiple times a week, like, I don't know, probably 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games a week, depending on the week. And we've been keeping track since we began. It was my idea. The reason I wanted to do this is because my aunt and uncle have been playing cribbage for decades together, and they have kept track, and they showed us the score one time, and they were just within a few games of each other, and I just thought that was so cool. And we are not just within a few games of each other.
Yes.
She like went out way far ahead in the score.
Well, but then you had to start over.
And then I had to, yes.
Because you thought maybe our skill levels had evened out.
Yes. I figured our skill levels had evened out a little bit, so let's start over. And she's still ahead. But it is fun.
Yes.
It's something that we like take cribbage on the plane and in our backyard and at the coffee table. Anyways, we love cribbage.
Yeah, there you go.
So, hey, we're going to talk about COVID, not right now, in a few minutes. But first of all, let's just talk about some wins. What's going well in your life? Where are you noticing life working out?
Well, I knew you were going to ask me this, so I would say one thing I think has been really fun is our dog.
Oh, yeah.
We got this little blue heeler mix in March, and his name is Jack. And he has now become an avid swimmer, and he loves to go on the paddleboard, and he has just been such a fun addition to our family, and loves to snuggle and is smart, and I think he's added a lot of variety and liveliness, and he brings joy. So
yeah,
and he's a good companion for you when I'm gone at work.
True. Yeah, we take our daily trip to the lake. We go out
you and Jack.
Yeah.
You mean.
Yep. And we go on the paddleboard. He loves to go on the paddle, and which is pretty cool. That's a win in itself because. He's a very intelligent dog, but when we first took him down to the water, I was expecting him just to like dive in and fetch sticks, and that wasn't the case.
No, he did not like water. He was afraid of it.
Yeah, so we took our time, trained, brought some treats, and I was very patient instead of just throwing him into the lake.
Like you did with the other dogs?
Which I did with my other dog, yes. And now Jack is he's a water dog. He can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
He loves it, yeah.
Yeah, we actually, I think it was you down by the lake. We live in Chelan, and there's a woman that gives dogs swimming lessons.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, if anyone wants their dog to swim and they're not swimming, there are people that can help teach them how to swim.
Yeah. Because whenever we go down there, it like puts a smile on my face to see him fetching sticks. So.
And we had a vacation recently with a family, with 12 people, with my mom and my niece and nephew, and mom and dad, and like we had a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a blessing to have that bounty of family. I was thinking it was a little hectic at times. I thought, gosh, I just feel so lucky to have all those people in my life that I love, and so that was really fun.
Right, and we went to Maui, which is like one of my favorite places in the world. Mm-hmm. And
I saw an octopus for the first time,
and
it changed color while it was swimming, and that was huge. So it was really fun.
Yeah, that's really good.
What about you? Some wins? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was for sure a win, getting to go to Maui. I think the other win too is just again, like you said, being able to spend time with Jack down at the lake. That's just so much fun. I feel like a little kid at times. And also getting back in shape or raising my fitness level has been good for me. I got a little soft there. I got a little, I let my standards slide a little bit. And so I've been running and biking and swimming. And what's made a big difference for me in that area too is having a couple friends that do that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm able to do that. Oh, and pickleball. I'm kind of fairly new to pickleball. I know a lot of people are into that.
Yeah, a lot of people are really into it.
I love that game. It is so much fun. That has been a really fun activity and great way to connect with people as well.
Yeah, it's really cool how many people have gotten into it all over the country and all different age groups.
Yeah.
And it's such an accessible sport for those people that haven't tried it yet. I would highly recommend it. It's kind of, I know people get really good at it and it can be very hard, but it can also, like the way I play it, is it seems like a little bit of a less strenuous way to play tennis. I know that I made them mad as I said that, but because I know it can be very strenuous, but I don't play as long as he does or run around as much as he does, but I think it's fun too.
Yeah, it's a great workout.
Yeah.
So let's take a quick break.
Let's take a break and then
we'll
come
take
back.
A quick commercial break. We'll be right back though. We're going to answer some questions about this new variant or the old variant or whatever it is. We've got questions. She's going to give answers. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. We're here talking with Amy, and let's dive into my questions for the day, which are about this COVID variant. Okay.
What's COVID?
What is COVID?
I never talk about that in my day.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
All right, so first off, there may be people out there who don't even know what a variant is, and I'm probably one of them. So can you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, and these questions I'm answering very much off the cuff.
Yeah.
A variant, I mean, viruses are always mutating. So a variant is just the same virus, but with some different properties, some different characteristics. So it means it's the same virus, but it's mutated. So it's a variant.
Yeah. So is it mutating because it's like adapting?
Yeah, well, mutations, just like in our body, mutations occur randomly, and then they increase survival or not, right? So the virus will have like random mutations, and then if it was an advantageous set of mutations, it will become a more successful virus, and therefore it will persist.
Got it.
Does that make sense? So there's not necessarily like forethought into like, oh, this mutation is going to help me if I'm a virus. It just happens, and then it may or may not lead to its ability to replicate, which in the case of this Delta variant, so the original SARS-CoV-2, that was called the Alpha variant, like the first one that we saw like last spring. And then this one's called the Delta variant. There are several more variants. Yeah.
Okay. Good. And is this particular variant more contagious or less? I've heard it's more contagious. Can you?
Right. It is more contagious. There's something much more contagious, like almost double probably, or even triple actually. So one of the numbers they use, people have heard about, it's called the R naught. And so like that means R zero, like naught is being zero. How many people does one person usually infect? And the original Alpha strain was probably like, the numbers are like 1.5 to 3, and then the numbers for the Delta are like 5 to 9. So one person now infects like up to 9 people, whereas with the Alpha strain it would have been maybe up to 3 people.
Okay.
So it is much more contagious.
Okay. And then who's at risk for this?
The same people that have been at risk the whole time, as far as, people that are older, people that have an elevated BMI, people that have diabetes, people that have heart disease. And then also, COVID is kind of random who it decides to really knock down. So there are a lot of people that die from COVID, and we don't really know why they had that kind of reaction, or that have a stroke from COVID, because it causes some blood clotting, and those people would otherwise not have been at risk.
Okay. And I heard it's affecting younger people. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I looked that up after you asked me this last night. I did look up that, and it's not necessarily affecting children anymore, but and I don't necessarily know. I think it's about the same. It's just much more contagious.
Okay. So, and I'm also hearing people who have been vaccinated can get this as well. Yeah,
so those are called breakthrough infections, and I think the statistics I've heard are anywhere from like 5 to 15% maybe of people in the hospital have been vaccinated. So you definitely can still get sick, and we've always known that you can still get sick with COVID if you're vaccinated, but the likelihood that you're going to be in the hospital is much, much, much lower, and the likelihood that you would be in the ICU on a ventilator or die is even much, 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 much lower.
Got it.
So like I looked this up, that a person that has had the vaccination, the risk of hospitalization, or no, the risk of death is like 0.00. No, sorry, this is not true. This is about the vaccine. I wanted to say this because for some reason, people lately have been telling me they're really afraid of dying from the vaccine, because you can read all kinds of things. And the risk of dying from the vaccine, I wrote down this number, was, I don't know where my paper is, was 0.002% if you, from the vaccine. And the risk of dying from COVID, if you're like a 60-year-old woman, is 0.8%. and the risk of being hospitalized is 9%. So the risk of, and even the vaccine may be 0.0002%. I mean, it's very, 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 very low. I mean, obviously we know that there have been some cases, but the risk of dying from COVID is going to be much, much, much higher.
Okay. So there's a number of people who think that it's no big deal if you get it, but they may be missing the greater picture of what's actually, how it's impacting the hospitals, and for other people who don't have it but need to go to the hospital for other causes. Can you speak to that a bit?
Yeah, so that's the thing that I've been telling people lately who are kind of on the fence about getting the vaccine, or or maybe they're really low risk and they're like, I don't know that I'm going to get that sick. Okay. And I kind of look at it though, getting vaccinated could be also seen as like a community. It's a community service. It's something to do for the greater good of the community. Because right now, Central Washington Hospital, as of like 2 days ago, they had 42 people in the hospital, and which was the highest number I've seen in a very long time. They are usually not accepting any transfers right now. Their emergency room is overcrowded. So those are 42 people in the hospital. I mean, Central Washington Hospital is not that big of a hospital. It's our biggest regional hospital, but that's a lot of beds that COVID people are taking up. So people that are sick with COVID are taking up 40-ish beds, that therefore, if you got in a car accident, you wouldn't have a place to go if you had a stroke, if you had a heart attack. So people are being held in these smaller emergency rooms, and then they're being shipped anywhere where there's a bed in the state. So it's not just you getting COVID, it's the fact that someone then takes up a hospital bed that someone else can't use if they have an accident or illness that requires hospitalization.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. What about where we live? North Central Washington, the Chelan area, Manson, Wenatchee. Is this considered a hot spot right now?
Yeah, I actually don't know whether we're considered a hot spot, but I know like Okanagan, that's where I work, we had the highest number of positives in one day that we've ever had, even including in 2020. And the numbers, I believe, at Central Washington have been some of the highest numbers they've had. So our percent positives are very, very, very high, much higher than they were a couple months ago. So it's definitely very significant around here right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last question I have, and then we're going to wrap this up, is as a person, you being looped in on a regular basis in this, what would you recommend people do in an attempt to reduce the spread of this?
Yeah, well, I recommend being vaccinated, and vaccines, we are so lucky in this country to have, we're throwing away vaccines, so there are vaccines everywhere at the pharmacies, at the clinics. There's 3 vaccines available, so that is a huge way to prevent being hospitalized and being sick and dying. Also wearing a mask and practicing social distancing. So like I was maybe going to go to a concert outside of the Gorge, Dave Matthews Band, this weekend, but I then said no, because even though I'd be outside, I'm going to be with all these people, and everyone there is supposed to be vaccinated, but even so those kinds of things, going to large gatherings, being indoors with people, even that you might be friends with, and even that might be vaccinated. Right now, it's so contagious, and it's happening so much in our area. I think really practicing the social distancing that we did before would make a huge difference.
All right, cool. Thanks for the information. Yeah. The more information we have, it's going to impact our decision making.
Yeah, and I tell people too that like some people like that I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to do the vaccine because everyone's telling me what to do. It's like, okay, I totally get that. Just figure out why you maybe want to get the vaccine. Maybe it would protect your parent or your friend's parent or someone's aunt or uncle, or do it for the community. If you feel like, well, it wouldn't be a big deal, well then maybe just get it for the greater good and not because anyone's telling you to do it or forcing you into it. It just could make a difference for the community at large.
All right. Thank you very much. Hey, we're going to conclude this episode, so you know what it's time to do now. It's time to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and we believe in you.